All right. So one of the biggest growing problems today is water pollution between the United States and a global scale. And so there are a lot of people who offer very different solutions. Someone's saying this is right, that's not right, but this is right, but then saying that's not right. So what it comes to is figuring out what is right. So no one can really show and say what is right because there's a lot of different solutions and to a lot of different problems. So there are a lot of things that people can do, especially from a larger scale, being people who have a bigger area of influence over the problem, and people who can just change it in modern day life. So one of the biggest growing problems with it is use of pesticides, and in the major problem comes from farming and crop outlook and all this and all that. And so with the use of pesticides, what happens is it'll seep into groundwater and then it contaminates the area. But so a solution to fixing this would be there are safer products that disallow the product to be able to move into groundwater and make it harder for people to make the area less fertile, and then it over time makes it harder for an area to grow. A lot of other issues they've seen is storaging of products. So if they're not stored in a safe place to where they can't spill, and to where if they do get out, it won't affect the environment. And so there's also a lot of stuff that happens with crops themselves. So if farmers don't keep their crops within a certain outlook, and then there's a lot of things they can do to prevent from, if they're not taken out correctly when they're harvested and then not cycled enough, then it leaves the long-lasting effects on the area. So the solution that people are coming up with, there's a thing called it's just a barrier of land in between crops, and what it does is it'll recycle the nutrients within the area and then keep it fresh rather than just continuously being used and used and used. Another big thing is storm runoff water. So a new invention within the past few years is filtering this water. So what the filters do is that when runoff water comes in and it runs into major municipal water areas, like I say the Chattahoochee itself, when they come out of the basins and all the like of that, they can put a filter on it. And so what the filter does, it catches any oils, any large moving objects through the water that could possibly contaminate the drinking water in the area. And what the problem is that people can see as a costly solution rather than it being an easy fix and something that people just have to look at. But what it comes down to is rather than taking the quick route and just doing a quick fix, that doesn't save the land over time. It doesn't make a long-lasting effort to change a problem. So in the grand scheme of things, when it costs them money, it'll save the land itself. And another big thing that you can do from your own home is just adding trees to your own yard, to your own area, because what it does is trees have the ability to stop the infiltration itself of storm runoff water. So when runoff water comes through an area, it'll also seep into the ground, and it can lead it to being a toxic environment, so nothing can grow. So a lot of things that are natural there just can't happen. So what trees do is that when the water comes out, it takes the water itself, carries it, and then through the water cycle, it eventually just evaporates the water to themselves, and it's gone. So that's another big way for it to happen. And then also, even patching up areas that are near runoffs from factories or runoffs just from, in general, from homes in areas like that. They can, if they're patched up, they can't be visible and to where water can even permeate through the barrier and then make the ground worse over time. So what it comes down to is if you can make a change in your own way, you don't have to rely on someone else to do it for you. So you can just go out and plant trees. You can go out and plant gardens to where it's safer for the environment rather than just leaving it be. And then there's another thing that obviously over time, money becomes a big problem because no one wants to be able to just go and shell it out and do it. But when it comes down to it, if we don't do it, the growing problem will become a problem that won't change, and it can't be changed after a certain amount of time. So once it's all said and done, if we don't keep it safe ourselves, then nobody else will.